literally a couple weeks before the wedding, I end up getting it. I ended up throwing up at some point, a little bit. Okay, so I have a little story for you guys. I sat down to film this video yesterday and I talked and recorded for 30 or 40 minutes. And then my camera said that it was full because I had footage from my last vlog still on the SD card. So I took it out and started deleting the old footage. And when I do that, there's usually like a lot of different clips because I stop, start. So I was just like on autopilot and was just like delete. Ended up deleting what I had just filmed. Needless to say, I was very upset, but it's fine. Today works maybe a little bit better because yesterday I was trying to record with Juliana running around me and she was just kind of getting in the way, and I was worried today was going to be too cloudy and not have good lighting, but the sun is out, so it worked out. If you guys are new to my channel, hi, I'm Nicole. I'm a mom of two. I actually have a 13-year-old and a almost 3-year-old. I met my now husband at my job. We were working at the same massage studio, and October 8th of this year, which was almost a month ago now because it is November 5th, we got married. I wanted to take you guys through the whole process because if you've watched my other videos, you heard me complaining a lot. Not complaining, but worrying a lot because the whole planning process happened in a matter of months. Proposed and we ended up immediately planning the wedding and got married the same year. And as a result, it was very stressful. Throughout the process, we were looking at each other like, why did we do this? Like, what was the rush? Why did we do this to ourselves? But it worked out. I want to share the story, just a quick recap of how it all went down for those of you that have been following. We really did do like the bare minimum for our wedding. We just knew financially we were not going to be able to swing a big wedding. When we were talking to venues and trying to get pricing, it was just way too much. When Vince initially decided he wanted October to be the wedding date, I don't think he was really anticipating just how expensive things are. However, I want to give a huge shout out to my dad and my husband's family because they really came in and helped with so much. My dad actually gifted us money for the wedding and that helped tremendously, and I was so grateful because honestly I don't think without his help we would have really been able to have like a wedding. We would have had a ceremony, and I just don't think that the after party, we didn't have like a formal reception, so I call it after party, would have really worked out. So he really made that possible. His sister gifted us the cake and the dessert table. She basically paid for it all, so we didn't have to worry about the cake or the dessert table, which was great. I'll start from the beginning, which is actually kind of a funny story. We actually ended up getting sick. About 10 days or so before we were supposed to leave, I was at work and Vince was home with the kids, and I came home and he looked miserable and told me he didn't feel very well. As the day went on, he just started feeling worse and worse and worse to the point to where he had to come upstairs and lay down. You know, I'm thinking, okay, he's coming down with like a flu. It was, you know, that time of year. That whole day goes by. I was feeling fine. The kids were feeling fine. It wasn't until the following day that all went to hell because Vince just was at his worst. He was just having, you know, body aches and fever. I had been fine, but I was starting that day to start to feel a little off. Julian was starting to feel off. I started gradually getting worse. We were sitting in bed and Vince is like, maybe I should test, you know, for COVID. But we've tested for COVID so many times. 3 years, none of us ever tested positive. We never had it, but we had one test left over. So I said, well, we have one left. Let's go grab it. Set it up for him. He takes the test. First time in 3 years, it's positive. I kind of figured it eventually was gonna happen, but I just found it funny that I avoided it for 3 years, and then literally a couple weeks before the wedding, I end up getting it. So make a long story short, it was miserable. Body aches, headache, fever, cough. It was extremely painful and uncomfortable. So we managed to get through the worst of it, but it leaves some lingering symptoms. So for me, I had an extreme case of fatigue. That was, and like a little bit of a cough, but it was mainly the fatigue that stuck with me pretty hard. Vince had a cough, Julian had the fatigue, and Juliana just had like a little bit of like a runny nose. The day comes when we are supposed to head to the airport. So we get in the airport and I wasn't feeling my best. Fatigue for me is like torture. Not having energy is like torture. I don't want to do anything. All I want to do is sleep. But luckily it was a really quick process because for whatever reason that day, we left on a Sunday, the airport was not busy. We went right through TSA, right through everything. It was really, really surprisingly smooth. Juliana was great. The flight itself is only about an hour and a half. I pretty much just napped on the plane. I was sandwiched between my son and a stranger and I was very comfortable. That week that we were in Indiana before the wedding, we just had a bunch of get-togethers. They celebrated his mom's 70th, I think it was 70th birthday. All of her kids were coming into town for the wedding, and it was the first time all 8 of them had been together in many years. So they did that for her. It was sweet. It was a lot of fun. The whole week there was a lot of eating, a lot of drinking, and that whole week the fatigue was there and I was starting to get worried. And it wasn't up until honestly like kind of the day before the wedding, but mainly the day of the wedding, and maybe it was just like excitement or adrenaline or I don't know what it was, but I finally felt more normal. So I want to show you guys before I start going into like, you know, a little bit of the ceremony details and the after party. I want to show you guys the dress. It's so not my normal style, but there was just something that was just, I wanted a certain vibe. This was, let me turn the lighting down a little bit so you can see some of the detail. So I don't know if you can see, but it had these little flowers, these little fabric flowers, has like sequins beading. The back also has like the flowers going all down. The top is kind of like see-through-ish, so it was interesting trying to find a bra for that, but it worked out. It was like, has like a tulle layer on top of like a, I don't know, that's satin or something. Totally not my style normally, but I love this dress and I will find a reason to wear this again one day. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I want to wear this again. But this was my dress, and let me show you, let me see if I can show you the accessories. I was very specific in the look that I wanted, so I was very intentional with everything that I purchased. So the earrings kind of looking like flowers in a way. I don't know if you can see that super clearly, but yep, those were my earrings. Because I had so much detail on the dress, I didn't want to go too heavy on the jewelry, especially the necklace. So I ended up getting just, it's called like a floating necklace. It's just like a very thin, transparent, I guess it's made of plastic or something, like string, and so it looked like I just had like a single little sparkle because it was like a little stud. So I had like a thing in my hair, just like a little bejeweled little thing in my hair. You'll see in the pictures like how I have my hair. I just pretty much had like some put up, the rest down, and then just did some like loose kind of waves. Oh, I found the hair thing. It's actually kind of mangled right now. I'm probably gonna keep it for just like a keepsake, but it was like a little comb. I'm too tall to get away with wearing heels because me and Vince are like almost the same height. He's maybe an inch taller. So I didn't want to do heels and be like towering over him and everybody else. I'm already 5'10". So I got flats. Oh my God, they're so dirty now. And they were not that cheap. They were like over $80 and stuff's expensive. The shoe, very pretty. And then it had like this little like sheer ribbon that you would kind of tie around your ankle, or it could be like up your leg or whatever. I had to get like a bouquet last minute because I had still not gotten a bouquet. So I ended up, while I was in Indiana, getting, just ordering one from Amazon, a fake one. So other than like, I wanted it to be kind of whimsical and like, almost like I wanted a rustic, like a rustic kind of a feel. So I got this. I loved the little just like twine it used, and it just had some like fake white roses and some of whatever that's supposed to be. But I love just the look of it and the coloring, and it was super cheap. One little detail from the after party / reception was our little card box where people put in or like the wishing well or whatever it is, where people like put in cards and stuff. But we had these, which these are like, we have a bunch left over. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with them, but they looked like little mason jars, and people could write a message, just like advice and well wishes for us. Mason jars were a huge like decor at the wedding. That's like the one thing I envisioned when planning this wedding was mason jars and baby's breath. Love baby's breath. Love mason jars. And I also, so our like what we used for centerpieces and along the aisle of the of the church where I'd be walking was mason jars with like twinkle lights inside of it. I might have you'll probably be able to see in some of the pictures, but with twinkle lights in it, and then baby's breath and like a little, kind of like a ribbon, but it wasn't a ribbon, that you tie around the neck of the mason jar and do a bow. We made that all of ourselves. I ordered everything. I was gonna order mason jars, but one of his family members, his cousin, actually lent us mason jars because she had it at her wedding, and then everything else we ordered, and his sisters and sister-in-law, like a bunch of people, helped me assemble them. We actually did have a day, which was Thursday. We had a quick rehearsal. My dad couldn't be there because he wasn't getting into town until Friday, but we just did a quick one through so we would have a general idea about what we were supposed to do. The church itself was not going to be heavily decorated. I was just going to have the mason jars, and then there's going to be some lighting stuff that they were going to do. That was kind of it. We had like a table that had the, it says like, welcome to the wedding of blah, blah, blah. The ceremony was super simple. The day of the wedding, like we had done all the prep during the week, and then the day of the wedding, I was planning on having to get up and go to the church and to where we were having the after party, which was where we had the after party was actually at a sports bar. It was a local sports bar that was also like a restaurant. They do all the food, but in terms of like decorations and like how we wanted the tables, we were gonna have to do that ourselves. So I was kind of stressing out about that because I wasn't sure how to set it up or what we were gonna do. And his sisters really just took over and took it off my plate and said, don't worry about it. We'll go there the morning of and set everything up. You don't have to worry about it. Just worry about getting dressed. That took such a huge weight off my shoulders because I think had I gone, I would have been just stressed out and indecisive. The restaurant is very sporty. It has like TVs, but on their ceiling, it was all covered in twinkle lights. So even though it was a sports bar, it just nicely all came together. The sporty part of it didn't stand out as much. So it did feel, I was worried it wouldn't feel like wedding-like, but it did. We had tables set up, so it was almost set up like you would set up a reception with tables and centerpieces, but just there were no assigned seats. People could just sit with their family, sit with whoever they wanted to. And it was very just relaxed. There wasn't like any real structure. In like a formal reception, you do things in a very specific order, but we didn't have a photographer. We didn't have a DJ. His brother stepped up and helped be the DJ for us. Like, so he kind of helped guide the, all the things we were doing. And even with our first dance, we didn't have our first dance till like way later in the night. We'd actually kind of forgotten about it, and then Vince remembered, and then his brother played our song and we danced, and it was cute. But everything was just very, very like flexible and chill. Even the cutting of the cake, we didn't even cut our cake till like later on in the night, like way later. So it was just, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people bought us shots and drinks, and his brother, he got us a mariachi. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but look it up. It's the guys in the sombreros. My husband is Mexican. His whole family's Mexican. So that's the kind of thing that is very traditional, I would guess. And it was so fun because it was a surprise. Like, he just said he had a surprise, and we saw this mariachi walk in, and he put on his little performance, and it was a lot of fun. After the ceremony, and again, like, not having any real structure, after the ceremony, we literally like went with his brother and sister-in-law, drove to a park, which had a bunch of freaking people there. We don't know what was happening. There was some kind of event happening. We had to find a part of the park that didn't have as many people around, and we found a tree we took some pictures and they came out really cute. But you know, again, we didn't have a professional photographer. We just had family taking pictures. So I have a collection of like photos from kind of like everyone, which is cool. And it was a good time. Now you can stop hearing me complain about it now that it's all done. And yeah, it would have cost us thousands of extra dollars to stay in a hotel the whole time we were there, because it was like a week, or over a week actually. We didn't leave until the following Wednesday, and getting a rental because we took a plane. So between a hotel and a vehicle, it was gonna cost us like a couple grand, which would have made the whole thing so much harder. And we were stressing about that, but luckily his brother and sister-in-law ended up like hosting us, so we stayed with them, so we didn't have to worry about a hotel. Then his brother had an extra vehicle. He let us borrow that. Things came together very beautifully thanks to them and all of their help. But we're not totally, you know, crazy. We did have, I did end up getting the hotel room for the night of the wedding. So we stayed at a nice suite at a Hilton in the area. By the time we got to the hotel, it was late. We were so tired. We were still pretty drunk. There was a whole ordering Wendy's fiasco that just, anyway, I ended up throwing up at some point, a little bit. I'm definitely not in my 20s anymore. I felt that. Through all the worrying and the panic, it ended up working out, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening to me ramble and listening about the whole story.
Give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way. Don't know what you do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand? Look me in the eyes. You and me, yeah, that's all I need, and I'll be alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna stay here with you. All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are and you'll be enough. If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that we have is each other now. Promise you won't leave my side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm